Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, before we do start, let us give a brief little review. In the last part, a number of events have happened. We had Deku and Sukuna. Now, Izuku was doing quite a few things. He was trying to learn more and more about his own cursed energy, and Sukuna has showed him how to use this mantle. And this is quite the hefty ability. Not too different from Cleave. However, just a little more unfocused. Cleave is a scalpel, while Dismantle is a hammer. And that is the difference. Now, Izuku, he has found this quite interesting. His training with cursed energy has gotten better, and his understanding of it is beginning to increase. However, he does still have a long way to go before reaching the legend that is his ancestor, Sukuna. Now, Jogo came back to the mansion and gave Deku a Sukuna finger. This means he has 2 in total out of 20. And that was quite something. Sukuna, he told Deku not to grow complacent and not to rely on others to achieve his goal. That is how he becomes weak. Do things himself and hunt down some goddamn cursed spirits. And that Izuku will get right on. However, before any of that, Izuku was visited by some Jujutsu sorcerers, and he met Mr. Aizawa. Mr. Aizawa saw Izuku's potential. He has massive swells of cursed energy, and that's high, really high. It could be because of his lineage, or it could be because of the tragedy. But whatever it was there. He could see Izuku's potential, but bringing him in right now isn't good. The boy seemed to be highly unstable, especially because he was sitting in a mansion getting drunk off of his ass with 2 girls sitting next to him. And Aizawa was pretty sure one of them was Momo Rozu, while the other girl, he doesn't know. All he knows is Izuku was drinking something given to him by the followers of Sukuna, and they have been taking care of him as well. Though that, it does mean a lot. Aizawa does want to bring the boy in, talk to him, and even see about letting him get revenge on the person who murdered his family. If only he knew. Now, with that being said, Izuku, he's got a lot going through his mind right now. And he doesn't stand there. Currently, him bringing his hands up and going to get ready. As their actions were Jogo does stand there. Him bringing up his hands and expressing to Izuku that this match will be something good. If he can best him or land a strike on him, then they shall do much. They can stop and quiet. What was that? The match won't end after I land a strike. You're still far out of your league. I don't believe that. They're going to rush forwards, bringing his hand up and using Dismantle. Right now, him throwing his hand over his head and smashing it down. Jogo going to sidestep the attack as he does a bring up his left hand. Right now, him going to create fire as he does a blast out and strike at Deku. And Deku, he has to bring his hand up to try and defend. Right now, him being blast backwards and smashing onto the ground. And Deku, he does actually lay there for a second. Him going to sit back up and bring his hand up. Him staring at his arm, which does have burns. And this does annoy Deku. Him going to climb back to his feet as Jogo would go to express. He's special grade. In fact, fighting Mahito would be more fair. Then again, the boy needs to understand. As his ancestor did say, he needs to grow stronger. The only way to do so is fighting stronger opponents. But Mahito would not take him seriously. And this should be an example of it. That was a simple attack. Does he understand? And Deku, he does glare at him. Right now he's going to get back up as his fingernails do go to elongate. And Deku, he does stare at him. Before, he has to go down onto all fours for a second. The man staring on is Deku, he has to move forwards. Right now Geto, watching Deku move fast and bring his hand up, trying to use cleave and slashing upwards at him. Him, they're gonna spin and use his hand, trying to use cleave again. Him, sing out the strike as Jogo, he's a step backwards again. Him, gonna bring his hand up and smash Deku in the chest. And Deku, he isn't flying backwards. Right now, him sliding backwards, bringing his hands down and clawing into the ground. Him moving forwards and gonna get ready. As Jogo, he has a step in. Him gonna bring his hand up and send fire directly at Deku. Deku leaping up in the air and bringing his hands up. Right now, him gonna use a double dismantle and smashing both of his hands down hard, creating one massive attack. As Jogo, he does go to evade it. Right now, him throwing himself up into the air and doing a flip. Right now, him going to actually land and spin, bringing his hands down and blasting at the ground. And the moment Deku, he does actually just turn around, he does bring his hands down, grabbing into the dirt and throwing up a piece of rock. Now, this is where Jogo, he has a watch on. Right now, Deku going to sit there. As Jogo, he has a step forwards. Him still blasting out and trying to inform Izuku about exactly what's going on. And Deku, he does go to do one thing. He doesn't move quickly. Jogo turning his head and seeing Deku. As Red is going to move to the right and throw his right leg down, smashing into the dirt and moving fast. Him going to rush forwards and bring his hand up, attempting to use cleave. As he does, going to bring his hand up and then going to close it into a fist. Him swinging his fist outwards and smashing his fist outwards towards Jogo, imbuing it with cursed energy. And Jogo, he has to dodge the attack, bringing his hand upwards and grabbing Deku by the face. Before, he has to smash him in the nose and pull his hand backwards. And then, he has to hold it out into Deku's face. Right now, Deku feeling the flames licking at his skin. As Jogo would go to express, the match is over. He would have already been killed at this point. Again, no. I'm going to back away, expressing. He is still learning. Then again, the match was good. He had many flaws and things to work on. He does express this again. They need more. He needs to actually listen and focus. With his own training, it won't do very good. He's too far out of his league. He needs a goal to strive for. Right now, strive for Mahito. And Mahito, he just won't sit there. Right now, him going to stand up and express. So, does he get to play now too? Deku turning his head. As he's a switch places with Sukuna, and Sukuna, he has a turn. Looking at Mahito, as Mahito, he does have his face go stern for a second, getting a lot more serious and on guard. And Jogo, he does get a turn looking at Sukuna. Him bringing his hand up, as he does, going to heal Deku's injuries. Before, he has a look back at Jogo, expressing to him, bring up his hand. He's doing very well. Don't take it easy on the boy. Make sure he does understand. Tough love is one of the best kinds for him to learn. Though, he's never experienced love either. I understand. Right now, Jogo going to fall to his knees. And Deku, he just don't stand there. Sukuna switching out with him, as Deku, he has a turn looking at Jogo, who does go look up and see Deku, who's to smash his fist outwards into his face. As Jogo, he has to throw himself backwards and dodge the attack. Him throwing his leg upwards and trying to kick Deku in the head. And Deku, he is sent flying with a bloody nose. Now, this has been quite a lot. And Mahito, he has to walk back over the stairs and sit down, turning and grabbing his container of popcorn. Right now, him watching the battle. And there is currently somebody else, who, they do stare on, but they're still very confused by a lot. I mean, they've seen weird phenomenon, but this is entirely on a different level. I mean, there's no way to define it. There's no scientific explanation for it. And Sayako does stand there, right her with a cup of tea, staring at Deku, as currently he does go rolling backwards onto the ground, bringing his hands down and smashing into the dirt. Him going to actually jump up into the air and bring his hands over his head, as flames do to fly up into the air directly to Izuku. And they come from seemingly nowhere. And there actually is Toga, who does get a walk up and turn, looking down to see the small volcano man fighting Izuku. And she does express, it's pretty weird, huh? Hmm? Yeah, he's fighting that weird guy with one eye. Weird one eye? What are you talking about? Yeah, you can't see it? See what? The person. Her gonna turn and look over, pointing it out. So she doesn't see that guy either? Seko turning her head and staring at the floating popcorn. Her watching Colonel get brought up as a handful of it does, then gonna disappear. And it's certainly something. Now, this is where she has to turn back, expressing she's gonna need an explanation, a detailed one. And right now, Momo, she does it a walkout. Her currently walking down the stairs and turning her head, seeing the same thing Sayako did as she stared on Deku. And Deku, he does still have a lot of work to do, though it does cross his mind. He's already tried battling off against a few people. Him around throwing himself backwards and running across the ground, bringing his hand out and some dirt and throwing it out towards Jogo. Jogo bringing his hands up and incinerating it as if to create a wall of fire. Deku going to actually bring himself forwards and rush through the flames. Him going to do so as a bring both of his hands up and try and strike at Jogo. And Jogo, he's going to bring his arm up, going to actually block Deku's attack for throwing his hand outwards and smashing Deku in the throat. Deku moving backwards and grabbing at his windpipe. Him, not fair. Right now, him gonna fall to his knees. And Jogo, he's gonna throw himself backwards. Since that, he didn't expect. The boy's relying on his ancestors' healing factor. Certainly not a good idea. And Sukuna, he does try to tell Izuku about how that was an interesting tactic. Though, next time make sure that he can actually go through the flames without getting hurt, or sustaining at least near to lethal damage. Switch. Sukuna going to pull back his hand, as he does going to bring his hands up. And Momo we're going to watch something before her very eyes. Izuku's wounds going to heal in an instant. And that is... whoa. Right now him turning his head to look at Momo. And Momo does see it in the eyes, since they're her going to actually fall forwards. And the moment she does, Sako, she's going to turn staring at Deku. And Deku, he does stand there for 1 second. Her going to blink, as right now she hears something behind her. What is that? Her feeling a chill up her spine, and a sudden, well, pressure. And right now there actually is Toga, who does a turn staring directly at Sukuna. And this, it does mean quite a bit, as their actions were Sukuna does bring his head forwards, leaning over her shoulder, bring up the claw right to her throat. She's intrigued by it, isn't she? Cursed energy, everything she's witnessing. If he's been keeping track of things correctly, she's another one of those rich girls, isn't she? Ones that like to hang around. She's persistent. What does she want? Why is she here? Money, power, and influence. She could have it all. Though she believes in him? Why is that? Right now Sukuna gonna bring his hand up, actually grabbing her throat as she does this won't sit there. Her shaking as Sukuna does begin to express her curiosity. It's that, isn't it? She wants to know more, find out what he was, see what she's seeing. Now, Sayako, she can tell. Sukuna can rip her throat out at any given second. And then she does get to stare down at the man who just appeared. Her confused, as Sukuna does get a whisper into her ear. He wants her and the other girl to do quite a lot. Train people, find someone with cursed energy, reserves of it, and train his descendant properly. That is an order. Fail to comply will result in punishment, and she may not like that. He'll start with her parents first, and she'll watch. Then he will make a meal out of them. He does hope that she's hungry. And right now, Sayako, she still won't sit there. Sukuna letting go of her throat as she does go look down. Right now, her staring at her hands, a lot more alarmed. And Deku, he does think to switch back out with Sukuna. Him gonna turn and walk over, sitting at the table and throwing up his feet, expressing, "Alright, it's time for a bit of a break." Hmm? I understand. Go. Seko staring at Deku, since he's normal again. Her gonna turn and walk away. Before she suddenly does a stop and turn and yell out for Momo. And Momo, she's gonna walk past the guy who's sitting there, eating popcorn. What's going on? I mean, it's, well, whatever. Momo running over. And around Deku, he does just sit there. Him looking up and seeing Toga. As Toga currently does lean against the wall and then go sit down, lowering herself in front of Deku. And Deku, he does stare at her. Right now her sitting her head on her knees, asking him exactly if he can tell her more about cursed energy. I already told you what you needed to know. You did. But the way you're using it, I can sort of tell, right? That's what those are? You might want to keep her around. Take a looking down. Asukuna would whisper into his head. She could be useful. In fact, somebody close to his level. Still a bit of a gap, but with some proper training, she could get closer. Become a bit more of a challenge. I mean, if he is to rebuild, is to be a king, he must have people who will listen to him. She could be one of them. He can already tell by her cursed energy. She is talented, though she lacks training. She has access to it. She has been through certain things in her life that have been horrible. If he can find out what those are, he could make her a puppet on strings. Make use of her. Does he understand? You're right about that. She could be useful. Not just something pretty to look at. Now you're thinking. Deku staring at Toga. And the more he has to make full-on eye contact with her, she's looked down, evading her gaze. And Deku, he will go to express. Water. What? Get me a glass of water. Then come back. I'll teach you what I know. And then, we'll see what we can do. If you're lucky, you might actually get to train with me. Really? Water, right. Her gonna jump up, and quickly gonna walk off. Her going off into a sprint the moment she does pass Izuku. And Deku, he has a turn. Him watching her run off and going to express. He's right, though. He does need people at his command. Plenty of people with cursed energy. He's talked a lot about these sorcerers. People with power. Talent. That is going to be a problem, right? Yes, Izuku, it will be. Then again, there are also other key factors to take into consideration. Like, back in my day, there was someone who tried to step to me. Tried to fight. They thought that they could be an ally of mine. They were wrong. Very wrong. They ran. Though I did get them, I certainly left my mark. Really. Yes. But get this. The fool thought I had a quirk. Interesting. It was. The look on his face certainly was better. Though, it was funny. Especially after I ripped off his jaw. And Deku, he just won't smile, feeling his ancestors' excitement in that sentence. And currently, Toga does come running back out. As Deku, here's a turn, bringing his hand up and grabbing the glass of water. Before, here's a bring his other hand up and grab Toga by the wrist. Her staring up at Deku, or staring down at him, as Deku's to pull her towards him. Her a lot more alarmed, as Deku just gonna make her sit on his lap. And he doesn't tell her that he wants her to ask around. He wants her to do something for him quite simple. Can't she do that? Him bringing his hand up and running his claw over the bottom of her lip, expressing what he wants from her right now is for her to find people who can see just like her. Him tapping onto her lip and onto her chin. And she does somewhat understand what he means. Though her heart, it is fluttering a little bit, since she's actually this close to him. And Deku, he does have somewhat smile. We're going to lean forwards and telling Toga, find someone who can see the spirits just like her. In fact, I'm going to turn and tell Mahito to go inside with this girl, since if they know who can see them, they know who has cursed energy. They know who can actually be useful. And that it does make Mahito a bit more annoyed. Him going to turn and sit down his popcorn. Him talking about it. Fine, fine. Whatever. Besides, it already got cold. It sucks now. Though it is all still buttery. Him licking his fingers. And Deku, here's to watch him walk up the stairs and turn. Toga going to jump up as Deku, here's to bring his hand up. Right now, him going to somewhat cut her on the arm. And Toga, she's going to bring her hand back a little bit more surprised, but we're going to stare down at that. Her getting a bit giddy and going to turn and run off. And Sukuna, he does try to ask about that. Izuku currently going to look down and expressing to Sukuna. Her face was turning bright red. The fact of the matter was, she kept staring at the claws. Along with that, she smiled. She was happy he drew blood. She likes it. Can't he tell? I see. Using her legs against her. Yup. Bit crazy, but hey. It worked. She got excited, not angry. Though, if she's one of those crazy cult members, then she did understand it. She was blessed and scratched by Sukuna. You know? I see. Have her be the marked one. Have her be someone who delivers your voice. Interesting idea. Well, I did learn from you. Is that a compliment? No, an acknowledgement as to your intelligence. Good. Understand this, Izuku. Whenever the time does come, we will settle a few more things. Me and you will have to do something. And I'm sure you will not grow quite attached to me, as I will not grow attached to you. The moment we can separate, and I find a proper vessel, things will change a little bit. Do you understand? I do. But for right now, enjoy the ride. Besides, the moment I find out who we can use and who we can't, things will get a lot more interesting. Let's see. Momo has creation. She has power, money, she's useful. Sayako is very intelligent. It's the same thing. Hmm. Toga's more boots on the ground, and she can be more of a physical presence, along with cursed energy. That makes her good. Somebody who can be useful to us, for right now at the very least. Until then, I think we'll be fine. Though, him going to look up. As he does get a stare on, seeing Toga standing there with a little group of people, going to express. She's pretty sure that this is everybody. And Deku, he does a smile, since it is still more than what he thought. Though, getting them all trained up to face him, it might take a little bit of time, though it certainly won't be time wasted. And we do currently have Momo. Momo has a lot going through her head. She's been doing quite a bit, and it has been interesting. As right now, she does get stared down at the book, reading about cursed energy and trying to focus, trying to understand her emotion. And it has been challenging, but she's getting closer and closer to doing so. And right now, she wants to be a part of this world, be on Sukuna's side, show that she's useful, and show she can be more than just somebody he can toss aside. If she can do that, then the future is set in stone for her family. He will one day rule, and she may not be beside him, but she will be there, a part of it. And with that being said, Momo does this one sit there. Her bring her hands up and trying to focus on her emotion. And it does begin to manifest. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.